Michael,
Hey, Ricky. How you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah. I'm kind of sad. I'm sad, and
Oh,
I mean, it's kind of I'm sad and in a way glad, but it's kind of one of those weird things. The sad
sad and
news.
glad.
The sad news is my obese parrot died today.
You're obese. I didn't know you had an obese parrot.
Yeah, I did. We call him Petey the parrot.
Okay, I'm so sorry that Petey died.
Yeah, but it's been a huge weight off my shoulders.
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. Tonight, folks, on the show, we're going to talk about Mandalorian, the season 3, episode 4, and It's titled The Youngling, which is basically is what it's focusing on tonight. And we find out some interesting things that we've been wondering for the past several seasons. So we'll talk about that later.
You might say this is a best episode.
Yes. Me so like it. Me so like it. Oh,
we will get into that when we get to our spoilers.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, I hear you got some nerdy news for us tonight.
I do have some nerdy news. So, Jonathan Majors was arrested for alleged assault this week. And a representative says that the actor has done nothing wrong. He is the big bad for phase 5 and 6 for Marvel. He's Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah,
and he was arrested Saturday in New York. And it's a little unclear what happened, but it was reported as a domestic dispute. The Hollywood Reporter says that Major's lawyers said, "We are quickly gathering and presenting evidence to the district attorney with the expectation that all charges will be dropped immediately." So I don't know. There is also some reports that the accuser is recanting her story. So I don't know how much of this is just the people in the know, it's really not a thing, or if it's just damage control.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to tell in those situations.
It really is. And we honestly don't have enough information on the story to know either way.
Exactly.
But he definitely was arrested. He was released fairly quickly. The big question is if this comes out as more of a thing than we thought, how is that going to affect the future of a lot of movies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially if he is the big baddie of the Marvel universe in this phase. So that could change a lot, but we'll see.
Recently, we got our first look at Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn on set for the new Joker movie. And she is looking very
Lady Gaga,
very Lady Gaga, and very a bit Harley Quinn. But it really kind of fits with the aesthetic of this particular Joker film series. It's much more real life than superhero. So it kind of fits with what they're going for. We'll have to wait and see how all that plays out. But this particular movie is called Joker Folie à Deux. And what that basically means, it's a reference to a mental disorder that affects more than one person. And so that kind of fits in this, in the Joker Harley Quinn thing, where they're both kind of insane.
Yeah.
So, but I think it doesn't look too bad. I mean, with the Joker style that they're going for, I
Yeah.
think it kind of fits. This is going to fall into an else world. It's not going to fit in with James Gunn's new DCU where we're headed.
No.
So this will live outside of that, but it is the direction they're going. I'm not feeling too bad about it, and
No.
to be honest, as weird as Lady Gaga was when she first came out, she's been doing some pretty decent acting in some movies
Yeah.
recently. So
Yeah.
it could be a really good. I'm hopeful. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we also have John Wick 4 came out this weekend. And as of this recording, over the weekend, it did over $70 million, won the
Oh,
box office this weekend. Not surprising.
yeah.
For a rated R movie, making $70 million is pretty good.
Yeah.
That is actually better than the last John Wick outing, John Wick 3.
Hmm.
And they are looking at being somewhere around 130 million worldwide over the weekend. So it's doing better than the last movie, and officially, this will be the best opening for any Lionsgate film that's been out. So Lionsgate Studios
Wow. Yeah.
since the pandemic. Let me
Okay.
caveat that this is the largest Lionsgate movie since the pandemic.
Gotcha.
So,
That makes
but
sense.
that's
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
It gives me hope that theaters still have a chance to be around longer.
Definitely. Definitely. They have not become completely extinct yet, so that's a good thing.
No,
Yeah.
no. That's that's all I have. Did you have anything else?
No, I mean, I know that they are recently in the production of a new entertainment video game basic on the Ninja Turtles, the title Ronin,
Oh
and
yes.
they're going to kind of go off of a God of War type of gameplay, which
Okay.
and it's in the God of War that recently came out, not the one
Okay.
for the early PlayStations, but looks interesting. I think it'd be really cool to have a Mutant Ninja Turtle Ronin series that's based off of a kind of a more mature
Mm,
comic series instead of what we remember in the 80s. So
right.
look forward to seeing something on that. So, but that's all I really have.
Oh, very cool. Well, maybe we should do some stupid news.
Let's go stupid.
It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Are we prepared to laugh it up tonight? Are we prepared to yuck it up? Because I've got
I,
some stuff for you. Just get your funny bones going. You know.
you've built me up now. It better be good.
Oh well, you'll be disappointed. We do that all the time. So yeah. So anyway, um, man breaks into daycare, steal diapers, and pretend to be a baby. Police says.
Wait, okay. He broke in to steal diapers. Okay.
Yes.
I could get if you were hard up and you have
Yeah.
kids at home, you
Mm-hmm.
might break into a daycare to steal diapers.
Yes.
But he decided to put them on and pretend to be a baby.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and continue with the article, which you may not want me to after I get done. A New York man, a New York man allegedly entered a daycare center in Clarkson, New York, while it was closed, stole diapers and formula, and left a note behind indicating he wanted to pretend to be a baby girl. Police said
Oh my gosh.
The police said they took Daniel Sealer, 65, of Holly, into custody shortly after he ran out the back door of a learning and childhood center. The center's director told police an employee found $120 along with a handwritten note asking if the daycare had adult-sized diapers.
Oh my gosh.
The director says immediately contacted the law enforcement upon discovery of the break-in and decided to install surveillance cameras. The director said a similar note was found the following Monday.
Oh my goodness.
Along with $200. After receiving the alert that the security system had been activated Saturday morning, the director said she arrived at the center to find someone had gone through the children's diapers bin and left another note and money. The director said that the note included sizes for pants, shoes, bras, and dresses when the man indicated that he likes to play as a baby girl and call himself Baby Danielle.
Oh,
oh my
so many
goodness.
things wrong
What's
with
wrong
this?
with that? Yes. She said later found someone drank half of the bottle of formula, used a bib, and stole 3 diapers. Apparently, Sealers was charged with burglary and petty larceny.
Okay.
Yes, that's actually
I
that
don't
was
e-
more
I have
depressing than funny to me. It
I
was
have
more.
no words for this.
Well, you won't have words for the next one here. Ricky.
Oh, okay.
Ricky, you've heard of the Backstreet Boys, right?
I am familiar with the Backstreet Boys.
Are you familiar with the
Backstreet's back? All right.
Yes, back all right. Yes. Are you familiar with the Backstreet Castrators?
No. I don't want to know.
Well,
I get to know though, don't I?
you get to know because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You're welcome. Where the prestigious American Academy of Forensic Science annual meetings never fails to give a vivid insight to some bizarre cultural practices. This year's prize for the most eye-watering talk goes to Karen Burka Bauer for presentation, The Balls in Your Court Castration.
Oh.
The balls in your court castration as a form of extreme body modification.
Oh.
According to Bauer, there is at least 100 cutters in the U.S. willing to lop off any man's family jewels. Their fee is less than $2,000, but the box is not included. I kind of threw that in there.
Box?
That you put the box.
No.
Okay, never mind. A cutter who had performed numerous castrations on willing men in his kitchen.
Oh, this is getting worse.
Yes, one of Brewer's most memorable cases is from Edward Bo-Katan, a cutter who had performed numerous castrations on willing men in his kitchen. His flatmate eventually turned him into the police. If you share a flatmate,
he was sharing.
Yes. When the police searched Boken's home, they found 9 jars containing human testicles, as well as well.
Trying to get 1 million views again, aren't you?
Yes, I tried to. Oh my goodness. Oh. They found 9 jars containing human testicles, as well as videotapes of castrations taking place, which he was selling through a publication called Ball Club Quarterly. He was convicted of practicing medicine without a license.
I keep thinking to myself, this can't get worse. And then it does.
It does. The good thing he was convicted for practicing medicine without a license, and good thing Reboken, he'll have plenty of opportunities to play kickball in jail. That is your stupid news.
Oh. It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling. Ugh. That one was hitting below the belt.
Yes, it was. Dun, dun, man, that's
Oh, that's nasty.
pretty much
Sentiments exactly.
is. Thank you. Can you imagine that? Would you? I mean, if someone gave you $1,000,000, would you do it? Like
No.
castration? Right. Man. Anyway, but enough of castration and in baby diapers and strange fetishes. Let's talk about the Mandalorian. So tonight's all about the foundlings. It seems to be.
Yes.
It's totally taking a different turn from last episode, which is good. You know, it's funny to me. I was reading some of the reviews, and it's really funny. Everybody loved the last episode, and
Mhm.
today, and a lot of people kind of. I'm talking about critics. Okay, critics are kind
Mhm.
of downplaying
Mhm.
this episode, which I think, well, this is Star Wars. This now we're talking about Star Wars here. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's kind of weird, but off of the critics in their comments, I I enjoyed it. I think we found a lot of information. We've seen some things that I
Mhm.
think will help us later on in the series.
Oh, yeah.
So I I think I'm trying not to go in any kind of chronological order.
We should do
Yes,
our
do-
spoiler
yes.
alert.
Let's do
So
that first. Yes,
consider this your spoiler alert.
yes. Them spoilers. So now we
Yes.
can spoil, right? We're officially
Yes.
spoiling. Good. So again, we're talking about this episode. In course, is called The Foundlings, and it
Mhm.
centrals on the focus of this. I think if anything, we start off where we see foundlings training to become warriors in
Mhm.
this open scene, and I think one of the funniest things in this, which is kind of a fatherly thing in combat, is Din finally is trying to get Grogu to stop playing with his toys and compete and have
Yes.
do some training to be eventually a Mandalorian, which
Yes.
I was interesting. I think it was acute. I think it was funny, the darts and all that good stuff.
Yes.
He found himself sparring against another foundling, uh,
Yeah.
and of course, in all of this, of course, he gets, in all traditions of Star Wars, Grogu starts doing some Baby Yoda flippings, I think, right?
Yes. It is
We
definitely a
went
Baby
from,
Yoda thing going on.
yeah, definitely. So they did like darts. It's almost like paintball, but I guess they had kind of a
Yeah, I was
dart
thinking the
contest.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I was concerned at first, darts, and I thought to myself, well, this isn't go bad, but
I was thinking the same thing.
yeah,
Honestly, my the first thing that came to my mind,
yeah,
because I am a child of the 70s, was
yes.
lawn darts.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
I thought,
Yeah,
surely they're not going to shoot darts at each other.
each other.
They're going to
Yeah,
have some kind of target thing that they're going to throw something that looks suspiciously like lawn darts at.
exactly. Yeah.
But obviously I was wrong.
Was he in this scene? It's interesting. You can tell that Din is finally trying to get Grogu to a point where he's trying to get him ready to be an apprentice eventually.
Yes.
Grogu still hasn't spoke. So he cannot speak the creed, which is
Right.
one reason why he's not able to wear a helmet, which
Right.
was explained in this early part of the episode. Uh, and during the training, we find that one thing leads to another, and one of the foundlings are taken by this.
Mhm.
It looks like not a pterodactyl, some kind of, they call it a Petrosaurus or something like
Yeah,
that. I
some kind of raptor looking
Raptor, yes.
dragony lion something dinosaur-y.
I was reading something as like a shriek hawk. They say a shriek hawk,
Okay.
a bird like predator on Mandalore. Maybe I'm thinking of
Okay.
something else. But the boy's name is Ragnar, and that's Vizsla's son, which is the
Yes.
which is the mighty man with a Gatling gun that he carries around. And, in this story, it really sets up to put a spotlight on Bo-Katan. I mean, this whole thing really, we're talking about the younglings, but that's kind of the A side of the story, but really the B side, and I think it becomes more prominent, is Bo-Katan's, how she is gaining credibility among this clan.
Yes.
And we were talking about last week where, what is Bo-Katan up to? What is she doing? But I really find herself, after watching this episode, it's almost like see her as more of just a convert, like she's going like a radical Christian. She came in, she radicalized, and she feels like, okay, this is the way, not putting it lightly.
Yeah, especially, we're not going chronological here.
No,
Jumping
we're
to
not.
the end, where she confesses that she saw the mythosaur alive.
So she wasn't keeping it from anyone. I think.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm a little confused as to whether or not the armorer really believes her.
That is interesting. I was thinking that myself. Yeah.
Yeah. At first, she definitely thought it was a vision, not real. And then when Bo says, no, it was real, it was alive.
Exactly.
I was still not quite sure that the armorer believed her. But I feel like what they're pushing us to is that seeing that has moved Bo to a new place.
Yeah.
Where she wasn't before. Because
exactly.
I mean, along with the other things, it's like if she's a true convert, she can't remove her helmet anymore.
Exactly.
And as long as she's going to stay with this group, she can't remove her helmet.
That's right.
In a particular scene where they're having a meal, she has to ask again, how exactly do we eat together as a group with our helmets on? And he basically just tells her, well, we don't eat together as a group.
Yeah, exactly.
But
well, well, I think that was interesting as we were talking about how Bo-Katan is becoming more recognized within this group of people. She leads the war party to save Bisla's son, Rancor. And in that situation, that's when, of course, that you're talking about, she talks to Din because they're on a campfire, and Din says we go off to our separate areas, and so we can take our helmets off and eat. So in the process, she does that. In Vizsla, who we thought in the beginning was going to kind of be an issue. Remember that?
Yeah, exactly. Everything I think, every time I think I kind of understand where we're headed.
Yeah,
it's subverted. In this episode, like you're saying, previously I thought, okay, so there's going to be a conflict, and it's going to be Bo and Vizsla. There's going to be some conflict there. But now, I mean, Bo saved his son.
Yeah.
So I can't see why they would have a conflict now.
Well, even prior to that, even the prior where she's leading the war party, he honors her by saying that the leader of the war party sits at the fire and they eat while the others go away. And that's the way, this is the way. And that's another honor. And it seems like it's very genuine coming from Vizsla. And so I don't see him as being that person unless something happens down the road where Bo-Katan does somehow, take off her helmet and caught and tries to deny that. But this is a real conversion story for Bo-Katan, which is interesting. I'm not for sure. I still have this feeling that down the road, something's going to happen. I have this weird feeling that maybe this is not going to be her full, this is not going to be her full, her passage going on in life. I don't know. I just, because there's so many at play, we still, the saber, the
Mhm.
yes, the
Yeah,
dark
we still
saber
have to have
itself.
some
So we
kind of
have that.
confrontation for her to be able to take up the saber before she can take leadership. So
Well, I
every
mean,
time I
hers,
think
yeah,
I feel like I have a direction that she could do that,
yeah.
it gets knocked down,
It just seems
which
like yeah. No, it seems like she's has embraced the people have embraced her, and the
Mhm,
children of the Watch. They embraced her. She feels the camaraderie. She's given respect. They
mhm,
see that she's, one of the greatest honors. And of course, they saved Rancor. So is it
yeah.
rank? I'm calling it Rancor. That
Ragnar, I
was
think
Ragnar.
I think Ragnar.
Rancor is the thing that Boba Fett rode.
Yes.
Which is interesting though, because later on we talked about, they have these Shriek Hawks, okay, and they
Yeah,
so they have these Shriek Hawks that after they save the boy and they come back, they bring back these three Shriek Hawks, which is babies that were from this Petrosaurus or whatever
yeah.
this pterodactyl thing was,
You think they're
and
gonna grow up really fast and start riding them?
I I I wouldn't be surprised. But these different clans basically have an association with, like for instance, Den. His clan is Mudhorn because he was,
Yes.
so he has the Mudhorn,
Right.
because of the first episode. Was it
Mhm.
first or second? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the second season, I think. Anyhow, but with that said, of course, now in Bo-Katan, she chooses her insignia
Mhm.
signet. And, the armor says, "Do you want me to put on the night owl?" She said, "Well, can I have it on one and have the Mythosaurus on the other one?"
Yes.
And so,
That's another thing, that's another point in the idea that she is leaning toward acceptance of this new group
yeah,
because she asked, "Is that acceptable?"
yes,
rather than demanding it.
exactly.
'Cause it felt like if the armorer had said, "No, you're not allowed to do that," then she would have been fine
She
with
would have
it.
been okay. There's a
But
very reverent and respectful tone, which is
yes,
totally different from what we've seen Bo-Katan in the past.
absolutely.
So there's a big difference in her attitude. So
Mhm.
there's a sense of reverence and some sacred, kind of an
We're
awe about what she's dealing with.
we're definitely seeing some character growth. I'm just not sure where it's going to end up.
Yeah, and that would be interesting. And of course, so far I don't know, I don't think we predicted anything correct so far in this series, which I guess is a good thing. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it is nice that it's not predictable.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean that's we're seeing that happening. We're seeing where Vizsla, you know, Clan Vizsla, now Clan Vizsla, there is predator or is a predatory bird. That's their
Mhm.
Cigna on that. And
Okay.
so, and of course, the Seahawks that is chosen by Clan Vizsla was a predatory bird on Mandalore before the Empire, did their great purge. So
Ah, gotcha.
at one time, these birds were a an ally of the
Hmm.
Mandalorians. Now this is
Interesting.
not now these are I don't think these are Shreehawks. I think these are,
Hmm.
not to get confused, I think the
Right.
Shriek Hawks are basically something from the old Mandaloria that is
Mhm.
kind of like what they thought about the Mythosaurus.
Right.
Uh, so we'll see. Maybe we got Rancors and Mythosaurus, and we have Shriek Hawks, all everybody riding them, and
This
like
is I'm just along for the ride at this point.
same with me. So, but alongside the story of Bo-Katan, we have the younglings, we have the Bo-Katan who's becoming, recognized within the Watch, and but the big thing is Grogu
Yes.
remembering what happened during Order 66. Now, up to this time,
Yes.
we've been teased with the scene in the Jedi Temple where
Yes.
Jedi's are battling, clone troopers coming in.
Mhm.
And as soon later on, we see where Grogu is behind them, watching what's going on. And finally, at this
Mhm.
point, we realize that they're protecting Grogu, trying to get him to
Yes.
safety. And in the process of doing that, they were able to get him into an elevator. And
Mhm.
and as they take on, of course, they fall, to the Republic command. Well, I guess it wouldn't be
Right.
Republic commandos, the clone
Yes.
troopers. And coming down out of the elevator, we see Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
But no,
Ahmed
actually, we
Ahmed
see
Best.
Ahmed Best, which I think he did a great job.
He did
Um,
really do a great job. I thought it was a nice nod.
I think so.
Um, there had been so much speculation that Samuel Jackson's character might have survived
Yeah,
and been the one to do this. So I think it was
but
nice to actually be able to see.
they would have to do
see
some de aging on that if he did that.
yes, there would have been a
Yeah,
lot of things they would
the
have had to
de
do,
yeah
but it was nice to see Ahmed Best actually get to use his face on screen
yeah
for Star
exactly.
Wars this time.
And he was very accomplished. I mean, he was no slug, no shrink. I mean, he
Oh
took
yeah,
on. I mean, he took. Baron, they got a hold of two lightsabers, and he really was a master. I tried to look and see if there was any canon out there that was anything that spoke about him in any other publications,
mm,
um, but I hadn't came across anything. If you know anything about this particular character, which is the name, what does he go by? Kaylee um, Kelleran Beck.
sounds right.
Caloran. Okay, Caloran. It's BEQ, which is so. Anyway, Jedi Killian gets hold of Grogu, and then we have this big chase. Now, by the way,
Hmm.
they did bring back Morrison to do the voice acting of the clones, so that's from my understanding. They came in, and of course, the little bit of chatter that you got from
Yeah,
the clone troopers was him, which I wouldn't be surprised. So, but
yeah. That's.
I
I
mean,
think they'll probably always use him for that.
I think so too. And of course, we see the Jedi Temple. They leave with the Jedi Temple just like they did in Revenge of the Sith at the end, where the
Hmm.
temple is burning. And they have this big chase, almost remnants of the Phantom Menace chase. Remember the.
Yes, and the ship, although it's not a perfect match, it has the look of something from Queen Amidala's world.
Yes, yes. Well, I know.
Well, actually, what you're showing here, for those who are watching on video, he starts out on some kind of speeder with a sidecar, which is
Exactly.
pretty cool looking.
Yeah, exactly.
Speeder bike with a sidecar, but eventually they get away in something that looks suspiciously like it was made on Queen Amidala's planet,
Well, it was
on Naboo.
yes. Yeah, exactly. It looks like the same type of fighter that you've seen her in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's a little different shape, but it
yeah,
has similar features.
I think. Well, and interesting thing, of course, they get away. Now, I did notice they're making a really big thing about this peak of Umate.
Yes.
I mean, because this is the second time that we've seen it.
Yes.
I mean, up till now, I've not in any of the Star Wars or any of the books, I've never seen reference of this. Maybe I'm mistaken, but
Well,
since
apparently there are some references to it.
is there?
Yes, and I believe I read somewhere that whether or not you can actually see this rock, or whether it's truly visible,
Yeah.
there is at least some hint that in some of the prequels, there's a scene or two that happens in this area.
Okay.
Whether or not the rock is visible in those, I'm unclear of,
Yeah.
but this square area seems to be something they're wanting to promote more of.
It seems that way, and I don't know whether it's just if it has, I don't know if it sets up for something or is just because. Part of me just wonders if it's just it's just a coincidence, not a coincidence, but they want to for some reason they want to reinforce this part, this rock, this whatever this
Yeah.
is. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's kind of an interesting idea that it's the highest peak on the planet, and you can only see the top of it,
Yeah, top of it.
um,
Yeah,
because this is now a city world.
yeah,
That's kind of an interesting idea. I get, that's one of those hard science fiction kind of things that's kind of cool and weird, but
yeah.
I don't know how significant it will be in the in the big scope of things. I don't think it will be.
I think it's interesting. Of course, the scene where they finally, uh, uh, Kelleran finally gets Grogu to, like you were talking about earlier. It's a Naboo ship. You have Naboo
Mhm.
royal guards there. They get there and they ask him where's the others, and Carolyn said, "This is it. This is the only person I was able to get out." And then,
Mhm.
of course, following is, of course, the clones. They show up.
Mhm.
The guards, the Naboo royal guards, get in a fight. Shoot out with them, and the Jedi and Grogu gets on the freighter or the fighter, and they take
Mhm.
off. And then you see some V wings, which is a prelude to the TIE fighters,
Right.
and then they hyperspace out. Now that what's interesting about this, and I think what we're going to find out is, where do they go? Where do they
Mm.
take Grogu? Where is he going from this point?
You think we're going to see that in this series?
I I think so. Unless
Mm.
unless they're going to just show it in the next season, but I kind of have a feeling, because I still get a feeling that eventually Grogu still is going to have to make a decision between being a Jedi and being a Mandalorian. I don't
Think he'll
know.
have to make another decision?
I don't know whether with these flashbacks and all these things are happening, if he would finally come up to age where he realized his coming of age, that
Mhm.
he knows the truth. He's a Jedi and he has to go the way of the Jedi. I don't know. I because think about this. He's a little guy. He's gonna have a little
Mhm.
Mandalorian hat. He already has now. He has a plate. The
Yes.
armor made a
The
plate for him
armorer made
now,
him. Yes.
and so I'm not for sure. I mean, what? Again, this is a lot of predictions that we're going to get wrong,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
having you in the back of your mind this whole time, going to yourself, I can't see this kid being a Mandalorian.
Yeah, I can't seeing him putting on a helmet.
No. So
But
what is
I
that going
mean,
to look like?
that's definitely where they're trying to push this. But I don't see that happening. I I want to say this is going to be one of those where he's a Mandalorian without a helmet.
Yeah.
He's never able to take the oath. He's never able to, so he won't have. If he's not
Yeah.
ever able to take the oath, he won't ever be able to wear a helmet.
Because yeah, because I couldn't watch the show the whole time with this little green guy with a helmet on. Look like something from the Monty Python, the Holy Grail. I mean, it would just
Are
be
his ears going to like
it
stick out the side of the
yeah,
helmet,
it'll
or
be too
or do they have helmet ears?
yeah, it'll be too ridiculous for me to watch. I couldn't take it
Yes.
serious. Um, I am still interested in how that story is going to go. Of course, the whole dad and son story. I hope that he stays with Den. Maybe a
Yeah.
situation will arise where, if Grogu is somehow turned away by the Watch because he can't the
Mm,
child of the Watch, that maybe Den has to make a decision. I
mm.
mean, there's variables there. Is Bo-Katan, will she keep the faith? you know, or will something happen later on that will call her in the different direction? I don't know. Will something happen within the clan that's going to cause some kind of friction? I don't know. Um, I do find
I
it
feel like there will
interesting.
be something that brings the clan together, and I really feel like Bo-Katan is going to take up the mantle of leadership again at some point.
Well, I'm
And
thinking, well, we're talking about, are we talking about all of Mandalore? That's what I'm thinking.
see, I think yes. I think all of Mandalore, but I feel like this group, this covert,
Yeah.
is going to be a part of that. Like they're going to be reinstated as part of Mandalore. They won't be
Yes.
the outcasts that they have been. Um, I, at least that's the way I feel like. I feel like that's the way it should go. Star Wars has always been about found family.
Yes.
Um, even though there are some people who are actually related,
Yeah.
we have real family because we have Luke and Anakin and
Yeah.
Leia, but it's always been about found family. You know,
Yeah.
Luke and Han and Chewie, um, and Leia kind of become a family for a
Yeah.
while. Um, you know, Lando Calrissian kind of gets added to the family
Yeah.
later. um, we've got to the if you look at the Bad Batch, they are a found family. They
Yeah.
weren't, that was not intended to be a group of people that were going to always serve together and do what they're doing, but
Yeah.
now they've
Exactly.
become a family
Yeah.
to Omega. There's all these different things, where Anakin and Obi-Wan become brothers. It's always been about found family. So this
Yeah.
idea of foundlings, this idea of joining together and becoming more than just individuals that work together.
Yeah.
It's always been weaved in and out of Star Wars for so long. I can't imagine them breaking that up with Grogu and Din. Whether they will be full fledged Mandalorians or whether they will just be Mandalorians in spirit,
Yeah.
if not in fact, I could see that. But I feel like Bo is eventually going to take up the mantle of leadership, and she is going to be leading that new family,
Yeah.
whatever Mandalore looks like now.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it used to, but whatever it does look like, I think she will be leading it.
Yeah. I have the same. I think it's a rise where it was a story of redemption for Din. I think it's a rise of power for Bo-Katan. And I don't mean that in a, in a bad way, in some kind of foreboding way, but
Yeah.
I think she will, and I think this will be a good, taking leadership and not believing in what has in your history and your culture, but now becoming a leader and actually seeing the things that was really, you find out is not myth, but actually
Mhm.
true. Because if the Mythosaurus is true, then okay, then there's other fables or other
Mhm.
stories that I believe with fables that are true. And I think that
Yes.
has strengthened her faith. And I think it'll make her a better leader once she,
Abs-
or if she gets to that point.
Absolutely. Along with that, we kind of in previous episodes we talked about I had made a comment about Din is de facto leader because he has the sword, because he has the
Yeah.
dark saber, but has no interest in leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bo-Katan wants leadership and feels like she deserves it, but nobody recognizes that.
Yeah.
um I think we're going to get her to a point where others recognize she deserves leadership, And she's going to get to the point where she not only, I think she's going to get past the point of wanting leadership and to the point of deserving leadership.
Yeah, I agree
And
with
I think
that.
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between wanting to be a leader and deserving to be a leader. And I think
I,
she's going to move from one to the other.
I find is interesting too is that the whole idea of whoever has the dark saber is the leader of the
Mhm.
Mandalorians. Of course, that's what the sect of Bo-Katan group
Right.
was. They wanted to follow the Mandalorian who had that, and
Mhm.
because she didn't have that, they abandoned her.
Right.
Now, I remember when, and I think this was it Mando 2.0 the end somewhere
2.5.
in the book 2.5 in the book of Boba Fett, when she comes to the armor and she sees he has the dark saber. But really, as far as the children of the watch is concerned, it really doesn't have a whole lot of weight to them, it seems.
I don't know that it has this much. Um, or I don't know if it has this much or if it is that it does, but it's not. But since Din isn't interested in it,
Yeah,
it's not as big a deal, you know.
yeah, could
Um,
be.
I mean, because as I recall in that sequence you're talking about from Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett, he and Visla do battle
They
because
do
Visla basically challenges him
for the dark saber.
for the dark saber
Yeah,
for leadership,
yeah,
and Boba Fett is able to overcome eventually,
not
but
yeah,
not easily. So I think I think there is some recognition there, but I don't know that it's something they're concerned with.
yeah.
Like if the person with the dark saber wants to take leadership, I think they would follow. But as long as he doesn't want leadership, they're not concerned.
Well, and they could challenge him too in the same sense, like
True.
what happened. But also too during that time when they were sparring, was that before or after he removed his helmet? Before the armor found out he removed his helmet?
That was before he hadn't yet removed his helmet in front of others, except for IG-11. So that one's debatable.
Yes. Yeah. Well, now I don't
Is
know. Now
removing your
wait,
helmet in front of a robot, does that matter?
no, when he removed his helmet, that was the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. We're in
Oh, wait,
season
you
3
were
now,
right. You are
and
right.
so and
So
so
this
there.
would be after the fact. But he didn't tell anybody at that point.
No,
I don't think
but
he had
during.
told anyone.
So, what point did he tell the armorer that he removed his helmet? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was it in the book of Boba Fett at the last couple of
That was,
chapters?
as I
Last couple of.
recall, that was at the in the first episode of season 3.
Okay, how soon I
I
forget.
could have
So
that wrong. Man, things get so confusing.
yeah. Well, now he comes back. He comes and yeah. Let's see. The armorer knows before that. Remember, he returns and he asks, "Why are you here? You're not part of the watch." He. I don't know for some reason, and if anyone out there, I don't know why I'm just having this brain scramble, but for some reason, I think somehow she finds out at the end of the book of Boba Fett. I think like one of the last 3 episodes of that. I don't know. We'll need to look that up. But
I'm actually double checking
are
right
you
now.
are you looking right now? Good, because you know I am wondering myself here. And again, let's see when.
It is episode 1 of season 3. He
Is it
comes
okay?
and yeah, he saves he saves the people from the monster in the water because the kid
Yes.
is taking the oath.
Yes.
He flies in with his Naboo fighter, blows the thing away.
Okay, that's right.
Then he comes and talks to the armorer, and she asks him, "Have you removed your helmet?"
Okay.
And that's when he confesses that he has,
Okay.
of his own free will.
This is crazy, isn't it? How much I've just watched it not too long ago, and there's so much happening.
I know, man. It
There's
is
so many
so,
different stories, though. There's so many stories
yeah.
interweaving in this, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to stay on point.
There's Mando redeeming himself.
Yes.
There's Grogu deciding where he needs to go. There's the Empire chasing after Grogu. There's Bo-Katan trying to become a leader again.
Yeah.
There's you know, Din now trying to redeem himself.
And then you have
There's
change, and then you have the New Republic struggling with the on
yes, got the
Coruscant,
new,
not knowing what's going. Dr. Fisher, you have that whole thing going on.
yeah, you've got the cloning thing. By the
Yeah.
way, if you're not keeping up with the Bad Batch, episode 11 of the sorry, episode, I think it's 10 of the Bad Batch. Maybe it is episode 11. We once again go into cloning because we see Nala, I think it's Nala Say, one of the Camino cloners
Yeah.
in custody again, having conversations with an Imperial, asking her if she wants to, if she's up to continuing her projects.
Yeah.
You know, he's willing to work with her if she will continue her projects with them. And
Yeah.
basically she says no, because you're corrupting the work that I've done. But but it's so fascinating to me that both these series are focusing so much on the cloning process.
Yeah.
And we're pushing really hard to try to explain why the sequel trilogy exists. I mean, am I wrong? Is there another reason to talk about cloning?
I mean, no, the only reason to talk about cloning after the point of the Clone Wars is that it's a prelude to Palpatine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Somehow
really what it
Palpatine
comes
returns.
to. Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to prove that what happened at the very end of this of the sequels actually is there is reason behind that.
Sense. Yes.
Now, whether that's an afterthought, I have no idea. But
yeah,
now, Luke,
I wonder some days, did somebody at Disney Star Wars go up to Filoni and Dave and say, "All right, you know this thing that we did in, you remember that somehow Palpatine came back? You have to explain that
how
in
did
whatever
it get there?
you come up with. Just remember, you have to take time to explain that."
I am trying to go by the motto: "All Star Wars is good Star Wars." So,
all Star Wars is good Star Wars. Some
yes.
Star Wars is better than others.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
That is such a corruption of a quote from 1980 from Animal Farm.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so there's a lot going to happen. Right now I've tried to stop making predictions but I still do. But
well, yeah.
I mean, we have no idea what's going to happen next. I mean, are we going to, what's going to happen? I would like to know more about what happened to Grogu, but I think that actually they're going to tease that more. I think they're going to kind of a little bit at a time, because it seems like each season they put a little bit of what happened in there.
Right. Yeah, I think probably we won't see a lot more about how Grogu was saved. I mean, I guess they could do, like you said, they could put in a scene of him arriving somewhere,
Yeah.
or put in a scene where he is captured.
Yeah.
But um, those are the only. That's really the only things I can think of
Yeah.
that. But I'm not
We
sure.
we know eventually he does get captured, of course, so we
Right.
know that. But
I just don't know that it matters.
yeah, I really don't. At this point, it doesn't. It really
We
doesn't.
know he did.
Yeah. So,
Was he in
but
custody? I guess the big question is, did he live somewhere safe
yeah.
from between Order 66 and the beginning of The Mandalorian?
Well, also too, I was wondering too, do they work? So I read somewhere where somebody put this kind of out there saying, do they work so hard to save Grogu because they know he, out of all the younglings, had something specific, special about him? You know, is there something that's rare about him? Something that that he's very strong in the force, or there, something, or his species, or you know,
Yeah, are we going to
I
find
don't
out
know.
that he actually is the son of Yoda and
Yeah.
Yaddle? I mean,
Yaddle. Yoda and Yaddle had a little gaggle. But anyway,
yeah, I don't know. Like,
I don't
that's one of
know.
those interesting ideas. Or are we going to find out he was a clone?
Yeah.
Is he a clone of Yoda?
Hmm.
And that's one
Hmm.
of those. I hope not.
I hope not too.
I really don't want him to be a clone.
I don't.
I want him to be a real boy.
That's right. A real boy eating
uh,
frogs. Well,
but I don't know.
I,
I don't know where
I
we're
don't
going.
know. I don't know. And with that said, I don't know where we're going from here. I don't have a whole lot. I know that, you know, we've, if, I know that the next episodes we're probably going to start where we had no clue where we're going to start at, and so we'll just have to go from there.
I was gonna say this one didn't end on any cliffhangers.
No, it
It
didn't.
didn't end up with them going anywhere. There's
Mm-mm.
no clear direction.
No.
So, I mean, the next 4 episodes, I don't know what the point of the next 4 episodes is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
convinced at some point we're going to see the pirates attack the town where
Yeah.
where I can't remember his name. We're going to see the town in the first episode, the very beginning of the first episode. We're going
Carl
to see the
Weathers at.
pirates. Yeah, where Carl Weathers is out.
Or
Yeah,
Weathers.
we're going to see that
Yeah.
town get
Apollo's
attacked by
at.
pirates, and Den is going to
Um,
have to
yeah.
swoop in and save the day, and he's going
Yes.
to bring all the Mandalorians with him.
That's right.
That's the only thing
And
that I
Van
think I
Cobb.
know is
Van
going to
Cobb's
happen.
going to show up. Van Cobb's going to show up.
You so want Van Cobb to show up.
Riding a rancor, like a horse. Yes,
I
I
don't know
do.
how they're going to get there, and I don't know why they're going to get there, but I am
Me neither.
convinced that will be either the last episode or the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But I don't have any good.
Yeah.
I have no good feelings or directions for the next 2.
I know. I'm pretty flat. I don't even know where to make a comment for what's going to happen next. So, but if you folks out there put your comments in the whatever we have below, if we have anything below, and you can catch us on. We have a website, speakingnerdy.com, where we
Yep.
have all our audio podcasts and video podcasts. It will lead you to our YouTube channel, which is
Absolutely.
YouTube/Speaking Nerdy. And there you can like and subscribe and be a part. We also on our Facebook community, our Speaking Nerdy page is there as well. And as well, we have a Facebook group. And we also, on the TikToks and Instagrams. So so join us, and we'll see you guys next week at the same time. And whenever that is.
We're trying to release all of our content on Thursdays. So
That's right.
Expect to find us on Thursdays.
Yes. Try to.
Anything else?
That's it. I'm completely done.
Okay. This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
I'm so confused.
I don't know. I'm surprised. When did the space whales come?
I don't know.
Maybe
they'll come back and save the day.
You think?
Maybe.
I hope so.